I recognize all of you in your capacities, the chairpersons or city mayors, chairpersons of districts represented here, different leaders of the UN family, the UN family, and the civil society representatives, senior government officials, members of the development partners. I recognize you in your various capacities. The media, we can't do well without you. We thank you for the coverage done yesterday. And of course, the technical crew, we thank you, the entertainers, Ndere Troop, we thank all of you. Thank you. We started this forum yesterday, and the theme of the forum, this is the third National Nutrition Forum 2024. The first one was held in 2013, the second in 2018, and this is only the third. And the theme we are running under is Unlocking Nutrition's Potential, Accelerating Multi-Sectoral Actions, and Strategic Investments for Enhanced Nutrition Security. This forum is organized by Government of Uganda through the Office of the Prime Minister in conjunction with the UN member groups, UNICEF, and many others. And we thank you all for your generous contributions towards this very important subject of food, the subject of nutrition, and something very important. If you see through the program, those of you with the program, there is the first segment running from about 9 up to 11. That block of segment is going to be held back until the arrival of the Prime Minister. She has got an urgent call and from somewhere else, and she has to first respond quickly to another state assignment, but she has assured us she is going to be here in the next 1 hour or so. And she has assured me that she is coming here immediately she finishes that assignment in office. So we are going to start with the second block of the program, which is the presentations. But I'm aware that a number of representatives or participants today may not have attended yesterday, and so we are going to do a very brief summary of what happened yesterday, a recap of the Monday discussions, and we will be led by my friend Richard Sewachirianga to do that. And then immediately after that, we will go into the presentations, so that then the presentations which were supposed to be held later can be held now. Before I call Richard, allow me also recognize the presence of Commissioner Walugembe, Mr. Walugembe, wherever you are, please stand up for recognition. He's the one who has been leading this team in the preparation to ensure that this forum is planned, is managed, and runs well and successfully. We thank him for that. And he heads, the Commissioner Walugembe heads the Directorate of Coordination and Implementation in the Office of the Prime Minister. So we thank you very much, Mr. Walugembe, wherever you are. Allow me now to take the honor to invite Mr. Richard Sewachirianga to come and present to us the recap. Let's give him some energy. I'm sure we have new, fresh strength this morning. Thank you very much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All protocol observed. Since we are waiting for the Prime Minister, we will wait also on the protocol. What I'm going to be doing now is just to take you through a quick highlight of what transpired yesterday. As you all know, this forum is a forum that is bringing together several stakeholders that are looking at issues of nutrition and from different diversities. So if you look in your folders, you'll find that there was a document that looks like this, that is the concept note. And in this concept note, there's a clear articulation of what is it that the program and the issues that we are looking at are about. So just to highlight, yesterday was a day when we had two thematic discussions. This forum is based on 5 thematic discussions. There was a thematic discussion that looked at issues of health and nutrition. And then we had a second thematic discussion that looked at issues of food security and nutrition. Of course, today we shall be continuing to look at issues of innovative financing of nutrition and nutrition resilience. And then there will be another segment or thematic area where we shall also be looking at issues of nutrition in Uganda's education. The theme is sustaining minds and building futures. And then on Thursday, we shall be looking at another theme, which is partnerships for nutrition governance. So yesterday was a packed day. As you all recall, we had over 20 different presenters that looked at different areas. So what I'm going to do is not to give you a full rendition of all the issues that were raised, but to give you a few key highlights from the 2 thematic areas that we looked at yesterday. So first, on the thematic area of health, there were a number of major issues that came out, but one which was an overarching one was the need to increase government funding of nutrition interventions. It was unanimously agreed that there is a pressing need to increase government funding, and this includes addressing issues and deficiencies in the current allocation, but also ensuring sustainable financial support to some of the vital programs around health and nutrition. The other issue that came out was the need to enhance the deployment and utilization of some of the traditional habits. I think there was an acknowledgement from the presenters that there is a value in some of the traditional practices in nutrition, and there was a call to optimize their deployment and utilization. And this meant things like leveraging the local customs and knowledge to enhance nutrition outcomes effectively. Another issue that emerged was the issue of strengthening local manufacturing capacity for nutrition products. There was a recognition of the potential of local manufacturers and the need to invest in enhancing their capacity to produce nutritional products, and this would not only promote economic growth, but also ensure access to quality and locally sourced supplements. There was another issue around increasing community-based nutrition initiatives. And here the key point that was made was the need to emphasize the importance of grassroots efforts, that there was a consensus on scaling up community-based nutrition initiatives, including empowering local communities to address nutrition challenges effectively. Institutionalizing regular level nutrition coordination committees or local level nutrition coordination committees was also mentioned that for better coordination, there is a lot that needs to be done to ensure that the coordination and collaboration around the nutrition stakeholders at national, local, and even community level is there and strengthened. And it was proposed that there is a need to institutionalize some of these coordination committees because this will streamline efforts, but also ensure a cohesive approach to addressing nutrition-related issues. The issue of macronutrients and their supply was discussed, and the key issue that came up was the need to develop strategies for macronutrient supply. With regard to the goal of enhancing that supply, it was recommended that we need to develop a comprehensive strategies, communication plans, as well as ensuring that we optimize all the capacity that we have in the country, including laboratory capacity, and also other issues that are related that would support the distribution of these supplements. On non-communicable diseases, the key issue that came out was the need for adopting a much more robust multi-sectoral approach to preventing non-communicable diseases. And here the points that were made in different papers was the need to recognize the interconnectedness of nutrition and NCDs. And there was a call to adopt this approach that is multi-sectoral, because that helps us to deal with the various risk factors that come from different areas. We also had a very interesting discussion around healthy diets and a need for a policy framework around healthy diets. The need to promote dietary practices that would be where we think about issues like public food procurement policies, regulations on marketing unhealthy foods, and the elimination of industrial fats. As you recall, some presenters did tell us, did remind us that those of us with children in boarding schools, nearly 75% of the time we don't know what they are eating. And that in itself is a crisis that we must address. We also talked about the need to strengthen complementary feeding strategies, highlighting the importance of early nutrition and an emphasis on strengthening these complementary feeding strategies so that that young people in the critical years can actually have the optimal nutrition that they need. We also, I think the last was the issue around investing in training and capacity building. So those are some of the key highlights that we captured as key issues that came out of the various papers in that segment. Now, on the segment on nutrition and agriculture, food security, there were quite a number of issues that emerged. But the key ones, one was the issue around, again, nutrition and the culture nexus. I think this kept coming up, and how our cultures have a vital role in terms of shaping our dietary habits and nutritional outcomes. And therefore, the need to understand and integrate cultural context in nutrition interventions was also re-emphasized in that session. The role of water in nutrition, I think the presenter kept reminding us to drink all the water on our tables and many other things, but I think the key point she was making was that clean water is undeniably the cornerstone of good nutrition, and ensuring access to safe water sources is crucial for combating malnutrition as well as promoting overall health. We also discussed the issues around extension services. Upscaling extension services came out as one key issue, both for government and private sector. And the point which was made was that this could enhance greatly the agricultural productivity and food security, but also it would be important that there is collaboration in the extension service efforts. We talked about the issue of promotion of sustainable consumption. We know that this is an SDG, but yesterday we heard about it a lot. I think the presenter even reminded us that some of you during the lunch buffet had served more than you wanted to finish and your plates were left full. So implementing something to do with sustainable consumption, I think, was raised as an important point. But other issues that were also raised was the need for implementing price control mechanisms and promoting sustainable consumption patterns as vital steps towards food security and environmental sustainability. The importance of monitoring and surveillance, I think, was also mentioned as a key issue. Establishing robust surveillance systems for pests and diseases. I think the presenter on pests and diseases was very clear, said that this is very crucial for early detection and effective management. And therefore, policy frameworks should be able to prioritize the need for surveillance and making sure that the surveillance infrastructure is well developed in the in the nutrition sector. Advocacy for food industry development. I think the presenter from the business network was very clear that advocacy for development of food processing industries is very, very key, because food processing industries can foster economic growth but also enhance food accessibility, and government and stakeholders must collaborate to address these industry challenges. Food safety awareness was also raised, that at the grassroots level it is important that we also deal with that issue. So grassroots communities, the papers mentioned that some of them lack awareness about food safety practices, and there is a need for targeted educational campaigns that empower communities with knowledge about food handling as well as food consumption. Climate change resilience and waste management was also an issue that we discussed. And the key point there was that climate change compliance and implementing sustainable waste management systems are essential for building resilience against environmental challenges as we see them. The need for implementation of comprehensive strategies in nutrition. I think we talked about the need for us to ensure that the strategies that we have as a country focus from production to consumption, that they are multi-pronged and multifaceted, and that this need to be implemented so that one, we minimize food waste, we ensure there is equitable food distribution, because there are some papers that presenters who told us about the diversity of food inequality that is there in the country that needs to be addressed. We also said the enforcing of standards and regulations are all things that are crucial for maintaining good food safety and quality. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm not an expert on nutrition, but having listened carefully, these are the lessons that we learned from yesterday, and we will be building on these lessons for today. I thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Richard Sewa Chirianga, for that recap. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me recognize two of our MPs who have joined us already. We have Honorable Okwang Philip and Honorable Makoha Margaret. You're all most welcome, and thanks for taking it as very important, the discussion on nutrition. I also want to recognize my friends here, the sign language interpreters, Bumba Brian Elijah, and together with Claire Tumusime, who yesterday helped us through the sign language interpretations and are continuing with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now moving to the presentations, and the person who is most fit to start us off will be the thematic chairperson, Madame Agnes Chirabo. Agnes Chirabo knows no introduction as far as food issues, as far as nutrition issues is concerned in this country especially. And let's give her a mighty hand clap as we welcome her. You're most welcome, Agnes.
Thank you, Charles. All protocol observed, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. Agnes Chirabo is my name. I'm the Executive Director for Food Rights Alliance, a civil society organization in Uganda that has devoted all its effort on food systems governance strengthening. And I also double as the chair for the Scaling Up Nutrition Civil Society Network in Uganda. I may not have an opportunity to advertise once again. If you're a civil society organization and you're in this room, you're in this forum, but you have not gone through the onboarding process to become a subscriber to the Sun Civil Society Network, chances are high that you're in a wrong place. And I invite you to sort that out with me and with the Sun Secretariat at the Office of the Prime Minister. I take this with great honor that we are shifting gears from looking at micronutrient deficiencies, from looking at making food and nutritious diets available, and all those discussions that Richard has ably taken us through, to look at how do we make this available. How do we make this happen? And one of the areas that we want to interrogate this morning is the issue of financing and investment. Where is the money? Where is the money? Who has the money? How are we using the money? How best can we put the money to the best use? How else can we bring on board other people to invest in making the nutrition services and products available? Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, in this session, I invite you to shift your minds to teasing out the innovative financing opportunities and cases that we can adopt as a country to build sustainable food and nutrition resiliency and make healthy and nutritious diets available to all the time. So we are talking financing, we are thinking of financing, we are going to listen to financing, and then I'll invite you to make your contributions. And remember, innovative financing and investment to build food and nutrition resiliency in Uganda. And there is no other person that can help us break this at the first start of the discussion other than Charles Asimwe. I think this is not a new name to all of us. Charles Asimwe, I think, is one person I have met in this space who is consolidating himself around the issues of nutrition governance, while the rest of us are busy taking the BMIs and all those other things, the clinical, the scientific part of nutrition. Charles is consolidating himself around the area that I engage myself in, nutrition governance. And Charles is coming to take us through the investment, the expenditure case of Uganda that has been tracked. And therefore, at the end of the day, we shall be able to conclude and say, according to Chelsea's analysis, and the paper is going to share with us, whether we actually have the money, but the money is running through the gaps of our fingers, or whether there is no money, or money is concentrated somewhere else and we need to shift it and place it in a different, either from nutrition specific, maybe to nutrition sensitive, or to nutrition governance, or the other way around. And without much ado, ladies and gentlemen, let us put our hands together to welcome Charles Yasimwe. We can do better than that. It is still a morning. Wow, thank you so much. Charles, please come and take the floor.
Observed, I will go direct to my presentation, and since I'm so excited, I will use my phone as the scroll goes down. As you have seen there, those are my names. And I'm going to present this on behalf of UNICEF because formerly I was the consultant for UNICEF. But the second part, I will present it on my own behalf. I have two sections. One is financing, expenditure review. The second part is human resources for nutrition, with specifically the case of health sector. Next. Okay. So my background, as you can see, the first point of if you want to do financing in a country, the first thing you have to do is to conduct an expenditure review focusing on the previous financial years. The availability of data, which is regular for financing, helps us to take decisions in prioritization of what interventions are critical for financing. And most importantly, when you have the data, then you can also do budget advocacy for financing nutrition. I want to mention to you that since the first ever financial expenditure to be done for nutrition was conducted in 2020 with support from UNICEF OPM, and the years of focus were 2017, 18, 2020, as you can see there. And this expenditure review, for your information, although it is backdated for the last 3 years, it provided enough information that has shaped the direction for financing, for planning and budgeting for nutrition, especially the NDP3. Colleagues, you will remember that when this expenditure review was conducted, we were in the process of developing the NDP3, and most of the proposals that were made in the full report, which are not present here, were taken on by government. And I would want you to give a clap, a big hand clap to the government of Uganda. Now, you will note that although we did this expenditure review, since 2020, in the era of NDP3, we have not conducted any other expenditure review to ascertain the progress made in how we have financed nutrition. So I call upon the actors here that we need to think back and also conduct expenditure review for nutrition for the previous 3 financial years, as we prepare to give guidance for the NDP4 and the UNAP3. You will note that the desired under 5 per capita spending on nutrition in Uganda is a product which should be at 30,800 shillings, is less in Uganda, because in Uganda the expenditure we're providing, the colleagues who are the partners who are here, although we are spending money for nutrition, especially to address immediate issues, but the desired one is really not yet reached, as you can quote from the SAN movement, monitoring and evaluation baseline report for 2018. So, colleagues, I'm not bringing bad news here, but these are facts that from the records we have, an estimated 1.8 trillion Uganda shillings is not collected in this country because of child undernutrition, and this is equivalent to 5.6% of the GDP. The investors who are here, all of the things we were mentioning yesterday for implementation, if we do not address the issue of undernutrition, especially stunting, which is affecting the children's brain, then that's what we are losing. Remember, in 2011, the figure was at 33%, and we are supposed, and at that time, that was almost, we have said that anticipated. I think that one, I can't see there properly. Let me see on my phone. But I can come closer. Let me use my. I was saying an equivalent, about 2.2 billion, 2.2 million children are affected. And what we note also is that most of the children who are undernourished, I want to go down there for the undernourished. The children who are undernourished, when especially become stunted in the brain, you carry that problem you do across your entire life. And we have noted that a stunted child where he or she lives, when he or she becomes an adult, is actually a problem to the community and the economies where the person stays. You'll see the figures there next also. These are the figures which you have, which I will not go into the details, but quickly I want to mention to you that 54% of the adult population that is living now in Uganda, not the ones here because for you have been purposefully selected. Randomly selected, every 100 adults you select randomly in this country, note that those aged 18 years and above, 54% of them grew up with stuntedness in the brain, and therefore the effect of their stuntedness is too much to the economy, and that's why I mentioned the other loss of 1.8 trillion Uganda shillings per year, which is equivalent to 5.6% of the GDP. Other figures are there, and I will not go into them because I'm rushing to avoid the element of being captured by time. Those ones I will also jump them. But most importantly, having seen the situation, which is across, the details are in the books, why should we invest in Shoni therefore? Improving physical work capacity and cognitive development and school performance and health will reduce a lot of problems, especially in the disease and the mortality issues. We shall increase countries' overall economic productivity, as I have mentioned there, especially by 11% of the GDP, and this is not my information, this is research and the evidence from the Global Nutrition Reports. We shall generate a return on investment of $16 per dollar. Currently, even other studies are saying that an investment of $1 of nutrition intervention will generate $30, and therefore, why not invest in nutrition now? For us as a country, the investment case for nutrition is that we should mobilize 3.28 trillion Uganda shillings as provided for in the UNAP 2 and address the targets for UNAP 2 by 2025, but also move forward to ensure that we mobilize 16.7 trillion Uganda shillings annually if we are to address the targets for the global World Health Assembly and also the SDG Agenda 2030. I would want members from the development community and the government to take note of this. While the 5 years budget for the UNAP is 3.28 trillion Uganda shillings, what would actually be required for every financial to address nutrition issues would be 16.7 trillion. And therefore, when you put in a percentage, you see that even the investment we are making for UNAP is far much less than what is expected at the global standard. So what did we get from therefore? I will go directly to the tables which show the figures direct. How's it going down? The expenditure review that was conducted therefore previously focused on these particular ministries, and the information that I'm going to provide in a table form in a summary is focused on 3 areas. When you see the word specific, that means you are addressing immediate causes of malnutrition, which includes dietary intake and disease. Then when I say those are the interventions that address other actions across MDS. And I want to mention to you that even if you scaled up 100% of the health actions, which we were discussing yesterday, to 100%, that will address only 20% of the problem. And therefore, those who implement in the sensitive actions, Ministry of Gender, Ministry of Agriculture, Education, Water and Environment, they will address 80% of the problem, but you must create a enabling environment. So the case that I'm making here is that gone are the days when we focus resources only on direct interventions, but we must address now issues on underlying, also provide enabling environment, and then we address the issue of nutrition. The budget that we analyzed are mentioned there for those financial years, and these are the summaries of the figures that we have got. You can note that the total expenditure for the financial years 2017-2020 was ranging from 1.7 trillion to that figure there, and of this total money, 21% was off budget, while that figure was on budget. I want to mention to you colleagues and the officers in this house that it is not true that the nutrition interventions are addressed entirely by the off budget. You can see that the on budget, which is both government financing and also external financing, which is declared in budget, provides almost 79% of the expenditures. However, there is a challenge that tracing the on budget, sorry, the off budget has always become a problem. Recently, when I was conducting an expenditure review and food system analysis for food systems budget analysis, I had a lot of challenges in the disclosure of the financing for nutrition, both from development partners and the civil society. So I would call upon that one of the calls is that if we have to make a good expenditure review and financing and mobilize resources, we need to have a mechanism of disclosure and also tracking for off-budget support. Averagely, therefore, in this country, the country spends averagely 2 trillion per year on nutrition financing across the 3 areas of specific governance and sensitive, and which is 2% of the national budget of the GDP. Remember, I mentioned here that the stunting is causing a problem of us not collecting 1.8 trillion. Now, if we are spending 2 trillion per year, that would mean that if there was no stunting, we would actually be having a bigger result. We are spending 2 trillion, but we are losing 1.8 trillion because of the issue of stuntedness. And the ministries which are providing the bigger part of the resources is Ministry of Health, Water and Agriculture, from the analysis that we conducted. You can see the figures there. The 1.2 trillion, 2.1, and that figure there, that's what I was communicating, that the increment is like that. But at the local government, the figures are there, and national government, you can therefore see that most of the investments for nutrition are happening at the local government level, with a few at the national level, which is also right because implementation should take place at the local government level. This is the figure for allocation of expenditures over the period across the ministries. And I want us also to give another handicap to Ministry of Water and Environment with a 35% investment. Madam Joa yesterday was presenting, and you noted that really the nutrition sensitive, the underwater and environment is so critical, and the figures can even be seen. However, that does not mean that other ministries do not have the value added, because we must implement and support nutrition by leaving no one behind. Now, What is the key message? Uganda National Action Plan strategies, which are 18, by the way, with 3 objectives and 104 priority actions, can be financed through the existing budget frameworks, especially through the NDP3 program approach and the program-based approach, which has provided a space for those interventions. I put those things in green that while after the recommendations, most of the interventions were taken. When you look through the NDP3, under the 20 programs, 5 of them have actions which are of nutrition nature. Even with indicative planning figures, but the challenge was when you check through the annual budgets and the work plans at implementation level, those monies were not reflected. And that one is a serious issue. We have all the interventions which are for nutrition across ministries, provided for the NDP3 program implementation action plans, but are non-existent in the annual budgets, and therefore no budget allocation can be provided. And I hope that this we shall get when we do expenditure review for the current financial year to see whether. But when we conducted this one, even during the first analysis, we didn't see money is being allocated there. Expenditures are embedded in other programs, as I've mentioned. But the indicators, the framers of the expenditure you had proposed that we should have indicators. I want to mention to you that through the NDP3 analysis, we now already have 15 initial indicators. We have 25 strategic interventions in the NDP3 and 15 outputs which can be linked into the program budgeting analysis. I would expect that the nutrition community should also take that one as a good progress. Although they are not yet tracked and they are not yet financed, but they are already provided for in the government frameworks. There was a recommendation that we should touch the chart of accounts. I was happy to note when I checked the chart of accounts, but that in September 2021, the Auditor General was able to revise the chart of accounts, and most of the itemized actions for nutrition are provided for in the chart of accounts. So that one was catered for. So, however, what is missing now is an indicator that we can use for tracking nutrition governance. Because most of the financing I'm talking about is clear under ministries, but what is missing, the money we spend on governance, including the one we are using in this forum. You cannot trace it in the government structures because there is no indicator that you can use for tracking nutrition governance activities. In conclusion, therefore, for the expenditure review, as we come together to take action, there is a need for all of us to change behavior, individual behavior and institutional behavior, to accept it, to work together. Working together, especially in collecting resources together, has been a challenge. The challenge we have moved since 2011 has shown us that working together is a tug of war, but we should change and ensure that we come together, mobilize resources, and increase coverage. Because the main problem in Uganda now, we are not lacking interventions, we are not lacking policies, but we are lacking the issue of having reduced or increased the coverage. You'll find that apart from vitamin and a few things, we have national coverage, while the rest, the coverage is very, very minimal. And that's just the reason why our indicators are not increasing. I have a key message for you here on expenditure review. Sorry, haven't I gone back? I think it has disappeared. Anyway, I will bring it when I present the second round, which is just 5 minutes. So in short, that's the key summary from the expenditure review. All is not bad. We already have a stage we are moving into, but what is required for us to take deliberate action to put what we put on paper into action, especially transferring the outputs and indicators in the NDP3 into the annual work plans and the budgets, and then we're able to finance them. For this particular part, I beg to stop here for now, and I have 5 more minutes, and I present now the issue of the human resources. In the Bible, It is said that the harvests are many, but the harvesters are what? The harvests are many, but the harvesters are few. So one of the call I'm going to make here for expenditure, this one I'm presenting it now myself as Charles Asimwe, the ED for Chickens Food and Sugar Consulting Limited. The call I'm making is here. Introduction. This is a verbatim from the president's speech while he was in the USA. That in most parts of the country, we do not lack a food of any kind. What is sometimes lacking is the knowledge of what to eat, and why to eat, and consequently some of us here and outside this room, they overeat, others undereat, others miseat what they do not need. And no wonder the indicators are very what? Are very bad. The Constitution of the Republic of Uganda provides for food security and nutrition under those principles. The one I've picked out is principle number 22. Part 1 says that we should encourage people to grow and store adequate food. Who should encourage them? The educators, the extension workers. Most importantly, that we should encourage and promote proper nutrition through mass education and other appropriate means. The word appropriate means was provided for to ensure that we do also some treatment. So when you are having nutrition, especially under the health sector, you have 3 things. Nutrition education, which is prevention, and then when they become bad enough, you treat them. And it is provided for under the what? The Constitution. UNAP 1 provides for 5 strategic areas where we should do either education or treatment. And I've listed them there. I'm trying to justify the case of why we should have the harvesters, especially under Ministry of what? Of Health. If I would put in Ruchiga, I would put it, but since it's an international meeting, I will not put it in the local language. But I can say, abajeshi nebache nibinji, ebyokujesha nibinji, abajeshi nebache. Harvests are many, but the harvesters are what? Are few. In my analysis, I use the following structures. Colleagues, you note that government of Uganda, during the restructuring process, was able to produce a staffing structure for Ministry of Health, which provides for staffing of nutrition cadre at the health center 4, at the hospital, regional referral, national, and the specialized units of cancer and heart. And especially for heart and cancer, most of us are what? Are candidates. So not clearly the case I'm making here. When there was a chance for having the harvesters in terms of nutrition educators or nutritionists, there is a condition attached that all the CAOs and all the power holders should recruit staffs within the available wage. That wage has become a cancer everywhere. Wage bill. So what I'm going to call for here is that can we look for harvesters of nutrition education by engaging the ones who decide the wage bill to ensure that we take an affirmative action for the wage bill for nutrition cadres in local government especially and the general hospitals. I have made a nice and found out that much as the structures were provided for, there is no single budget that has put a provision for recruitment of those nutrition cadres, and we are continually singing that we must fight malnutrition in this country together. We have 2 categories of people. There are those called nutrition catalysts and then the nutrition professionals. In the science of senior 2, we define the catalyst as something that changes the rate of chemical reaction but remains at the change at the end. Therefore, much as we need the catalyst, they will remain professionals, but we need a professional who is going to communicate what people should eat, and then the 2 together produce results, especially at the local government level. I analyzed the JDs. For your information, I noted that the JD that was produced for nutritionists in 2011, when we had formed the UNAP 1, has never been updated despite the current changes. And I myself, I was the first nutritionist to be in the district hospital in 2001. Actually, me, I was recruited even without a job description, although the title was there. And what I went through, I know it myself at heart. Summary of the results of the availability of the staffing and the cost requirement. National Referral Hospitals, the 3 of them, I have removed the Butabeka because I checked, I found they didn't have a nutrition job in their structure. I hope the Butabeka people don't need nutrition, but I think they need it. That's the total amount of money required financially. Uganda Heart Institute, you see the money. The Cancer Institute, you see the total money. Regional Referral, General, and the Health Center Force. You can imagine, while we have 333 constituencies in this country, the center force which are available 218, which is a good figure, and the districts are 47, are 135, but 147. But most importantly, those are put here, they have the structure for recruitment of a mission cadre to address the issue which I presented first, that people lack information and therefore they miss it. So I'm calling a case here that we need 2.7 billion annually. And it's part of the UNAP, because the UNAP is 3.2 is 3.2 trillions to provide for the people who will do the harvesting. And this code, I'm not going into the details of which position is everywhere, but this code goes both to government and non-government. I have mentioned to you that when I was at OPM, I was a consultant. I was paid through technical assistance by UNICEF for 5 years, but I was daily supervised by OPM, and yet I was paid by UNICEF. So the development partners, in a situation when the government does not have enough resources for HR, you have people you are supporting in those areas as project officers. Can you make some of them to be nutritionists on full time? So that when your project ends, then the government takes them over when the wage is available, even if it is after 5 years, because they will not suffer from a high payment which you pay, but there is a balanced payment that the government can afford. The details of what is available and required for each hospital, I'm not going through it because I want to go to the end. Of what case, what am I calling for? You have noted the money required is 27 billion. That's the most important thing we should pick there. And the 27 billion, if you don't invest in it, therefore, you know the impact. I said $1, 16 what? Dollars. So assume you invest the 27 billion, you will get 27 times how much? You can get the figure. Now this one has become stuck there.
Okay.
So you are here, you can see yourself. I have used a lot of energy from Chigezi.
Okay. It's done, Luke.
Anyway, my last statement is, you have seen the problem, you have seen the desire for improved nutrition, and my call from the two analysis is that we should provide resources, immediate resources for financing nutrition, both direct and indirect, but most importantly, for financing the harvesters. This is the detail for what is available. You can have, I made a lot of detail for everything, and if you want the details, I am available and the presentation will be shared. But most importantly, we want those nutrition officers as soon as possible if we are to address the problem on nutrition, or else we shall keep in workshops talking about the problem and the solution is not seen. I beg to submit.
Thank you so much, Charles. The unfortunate bit is that I had left the audience. I would have joined them and we clap for you better. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Charles. And if I was to do a small recap of what Charles has said, just in a few sentences, when we are talking about spending on nutrition, it's not an expenditure, it is an investment that actually makes sense. Where in this country do you invest $1 and you yield 30? I think my brother from the business network, the Sun Business Network, that's a very good business. Invest $1, you yield 30. That's a good investment. But also, as part of my professional life in budget and financial tracking, there are critical questions that are always put before us. When you say add money here, they ask you from where. And Charles has been able to show us where the money is. But at the same time, he has also told us where we should put the money. And one of the critical areas is the human resource. Charles is a very good person with so many experiences, working without a job description, and then thereafter being paid by another person, supervised by another. He has a very good experiences, and these are the models that we want to explore in this room. If we are going to really get our financing mobilized and organized, and we enjoy the dividends of 30 after investing $1 single. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a rejoinder presentation, and this exactly helps us to wrap what Charles has opened up. Julius Mukunda, my senior brother from the Civil Society Budget Advocacy Group, is here. A round of applause for Julius. Next time, if it will be you being introduced and you clap like that, you will know how it actually feels. But what is very important is that Julius is going to help us tease out the innovative mechanisms, because Charles in a way is saying the money is there, but what we need are the innovative mechanisms for financing food and nutrition resilience. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, our hands together for Julius Mukunda. Julius over here.
Good morning, everyone. Agnes, I hope after this presentation, I'll come and work for the FRA because you're putting my job at risk. I am not Julius Mukunda. I am Jeff Wadulo representing Julius Mukunda, just for clarity. Okay. The presentation is being highlighted, so I'll be using my laptop, or if somebody can help me transit, I'll be guiding you on the transition so that I'm able to focus on the presentation. Okay, so once again, Jeff Wadulo are my names. I am the Program and Policy Advisor at the Civil Society Budget Advocacy Group. And I am representing Mr. Julius Mukunda, the Executive Director, who had to attend an equally important meeting and couldn't be here. So this presentation is looking at innovative financing for food and nutrition resilience. And we're picking a case of a project that we're implementing, the Right to Grow project in Uganda, as you'll be seeing in the background. And we think that this project has given us some insights about how we can be innovative in financing for nutrition. But we also look at some other, innovative global and regional mechanisms for improving the financing for nutrition in Uganda. So the presentation is like that. I'll speak about CSBAG, the Right to Grow project, implementing partners, our theory of change of the Right to Grow project, scope methodology, as you have seen, guided by the presentation outline. We at CSBAG are a coalition formed in 2004 to bring together CSOs, about 100, at national and district level to influence government decisions on resource mobilization, allocation, and utilization for equitable and sustainable development. The other bit on the Right to Grow project is a 5-year intervention which started in 2021 and will go up to next year, 2025, whose ultimate goal is to have every child reach their full potential and whose long-term sought impact is all children under 5 are well nourished. To achieve this, the project's medium impact is to have decision makers jointly and effectively address undernutrition in a multi-sectoral, gender-sensitive, and inclusive way. There are the Right to Grow implementing partners. We have the Hunger Project. We have the Action Against Hunger, World Vision, SIGA, the Center for Economic Governance and Accountability in Africa, ourselves, the Civil Society Budget Advocacy Group, FRA, Food Rights Alliance, CD, Community Integrated Development Initiatives, MSCLD, the Movement for Community-Led Development, and the districts of our action. Kamwenge, Bulisa, Chikube, Kakumiro, Ajumani, Yumbe, Maracha, Noya, Bugweri, and Kabale. And the choice of these districts was tagged to the levels of malnutrition in the country, but also where there is a huge refugee influx, and you also know the nexus between refugees and malnutrition. Yeah, that is our project Sphere of Change. As you did see, our ultimate goal is every child is able to reach their full potential. And you also know why we're focusing on children is that the phenomenon of stuntedness, when it appears in the first 2 years, whatever else is done cannot correct the situation that has happened to the child. So we focus on children under 5 so that when they grow, they are able to respond to society's needs as they grow. So we have about 4 program areas, majorly one on the communities, focused on building their capacity and awareness. We have also the second one focusing on building the capacity of civil society organizations to implement nutritional interventions. But we also, in number 3, engage with national and subnational governments to be able to influence policy and budgets to include nutrition planning and budgeting. The fourth, which I must say we are struggling with, is the donors and international development partners, trying to build a nexus between financing and implementation of nutritional outcomes. But also, as you're aware, there's a lot globally that is ongoing to make sure that increasing for financing for nutrition happens. I will not spend a lot of time on the statistics. You already have gotten them. I wish somebody could help me transit as I present because it is disrupting my presentation. Can somebody help me transit? Yeah, so if you're looking at the scope, this paper focuses on innovative financing for food and nutrition resilience in Uganda under the sub-themes below. We're looking at number one, research and development of relevant technologies and innovations. The second is agricultural finance institutions. The third, innovative financing mechanisms to complement official development assistance. And that's where the focus of the right to grow intervention is, where I'll spend more time. Then there's also the level of catalyzing private investments through adequate catalyzing tools. Are we two people doing the transition? No, it's me only. Is somebody doing the transition? So I shouldn't be touching this. Thank you, because I was messing it up all the time. Okay, so we go to methodology. Yes, there we are. We mainly use the literature review, but also used the case of the project Right to Grow that we are implementing by CSBAG and the partners that I did mention. And I know that some of them are here in this room. FRA, Action Against Hunger, I think I've seen some of them. Thank you for coming. On the element of research and development of relevant technologies and innovations, we did find some innovations around grants and technical assistance. These are the most widely used and well-established mechanisms, including food and all nutrition focus. The Good Food Innovation Fund provides food, small and medium-sized enterprises in East and West Africa with technical assistance and grants, including to help prepare them to receive larger financing for the future. Then there is outcome funding, impact bonds, and impact-linked finance. These instruments link measurable impact targets verified by independent instruments, or rather, sorry, by independent evaluators to financial rewards. Save the Children is currently working on developing results-based financing instruments, and the impact-linked fund for East and Southern Africa includes agriculture and food security among its target sectors. The other one is debt and equity instruments. The UN Capital Development Fund's Bridge Facility, which provides concessional revolving capital bridging to companies in the frontier markets, including those in the food security and nutrition sector. The other one is the First Loss Capital and Guarantees. The Nutritious Food Financing Facility is the first nutrition-focused debt fund using a blended finance structure. It aims to invest in SMEs producing nutritious foods in sub-Saharan Africa. The structure includes a first loss capital mechanism that aims to reduce to investors and thus risk to investors and thus attract further capital into the fund itself. A little bit of apologies for the small print, but I'll quickly read this. The agricultural financial institutions. One, the World Bank assists client countries in developing and implementing agricultural finance strategies and instruments to crowd in private capital, deepening resilient agricultural finance markets. The other one is the African Development Bank, which has instilled a level of confidence in agricultural finance to the financial institutions that has resulted in their willingness. Bank of Uganda, the agricultural credit facility. This has been existing for some time, but the challenge we have is that many farmers don't seem to be accessible to it or even aware about the existence of the agricultural credit facility. And yet, I think in our last local government budget consultations, the Bank of Uganda made an effort to make sure that awareness about this fund exists and can help farmers with credit. The other one is the commercial banks, which are still the main contributors to new loan advances to Uganda's agricultural sector, accounting for over 60%. Some of the commercial banks, you know, are listed there, and they offer various financial products and services tailored to the needs of farmers, agricultural businesses, and cooperatives, among others. And the kind of things they finance are listed below. Again, we have credit institutions and also microcredit deposit-taking institutions that support agricultural nutrition. Some examples of these institutions include the microfinance institutions such as Finca, BRAC, and Vision Fund, but also therein credit unions and SACCOs. The next, the emphasis where CSBAG and partners have been working in terms of innovative financing mechanisms to complement ODA. We have the National Nutrition Planning Guidelines. We have been able to train district officials on why and how to include nutrition in district work plans. CSBAG, as the BMET thematic lead, with support from SIGA, has done this for all the 10 Right to Grow districts, as mentioned there, and refreshers are due for this year. The second is nutrition budgeting, monitoring, and expenditure tracking, which includes nutrition as a priority in each sector's investment and development plans, and within each district's development plans. CSBAG, in partnership with SIGA, has trained the Right to Grow CSO partners and their subnational partners, CSOs, CBOs, and CVAs, in budget monitoring and expenditure tracking, and even developed the tools for monitoring nutrition, food security, and WASH indicators at the district, sub-county, facility, and community level. The Uganda National Nutrition Action Plan, the approval and implementation of the UNAP monitoring evaluation framework, which includes nutrition-specific and sensitive indicators. UNAP 2 is coming to an end, and we have called for an evaluation, especially how much of the UNAP 2 financing priorities are reflected in the government of Uganda budget over the period. My colleague Charles has referred to this. The UNAP costing is 3.28 trillion, out of which the nutrition specific is Uganda shillings 1.7 trillion, nutrition sensitive, Uganda shillings 1.072 trillion, and enabling environment is 493 billion. However, we ask how much have our budgets for the last 4 financial years funded the above 3 areas. We've tried to track where nutrition financing is, but since we do not have independent spending lines for nutrition, it's really like looking for a needle in a haystack. The other ones are nutritious food financing facility an investment facility established by the Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition to help small and medium-sized enterprises grow their businesses and develop market nutritious foods. I'll speak more about the last bullet, the roadside market outlets and informal private sector actors. I think if you've been in a traffic jam, most of the time, Kampala is a very good example. You see a lot of actors selling nutritious foods like pineapples, oranges, mangoes, the roadside markets. But of course the challenge, or even jackfruit, things that you may have had to buy expensively in a supermarket. So you find a lot of Ugandans hustling to make a living, but also feeding the nation. So the ability and all to enable the small, medium, and micro enterprises, such as the mama mbogas, the wheelbarrow pushers, the roadside vendors, all who add value to nutritious foods, as you've seen there, at affordable prices. I think that is one way, because that's where most Ugandans are active. The other one, the fourth and perhaps the last, is the catalyzing private investment through adequate catalyzing tools. One, risk-sharing facilities, like sharing risks with private investors to encourage investment in nutrition-related projects. So private public partnerships. The guarantee mechanisms, providing guarantees to reduce risk and attract private investment. Impact investment funds, establishing funds that invest in businesses and organizations with a focus on nutrition and social impact. Tax incentives, agricultural finance escalation facilities, and blended finance instruments. Key actionable recommendations. We think that there is a need, if it's not already in place, the establishment of a nutrition financing task force, which will bring together stakeholders from government, private sector, the civil society, and development partners to identify financing gaps and solutions. Development of a nutrition financing strategy, create a comprehensive strategy outlining priorities, goals, and innovative financing mechanisms to address nutrition challenges. Increase budget allocation, advocate increased budget allocation for nutrition-specific and nutrition-sensitive interventions. I'm a bit worried on this particular number or issue. The government of Uganda agro-industrialization budget has been cut, I think now by about 500 billion, but we see that the last financial year's budget, over about 1 trillion was coming from foreign sources. I'm wondering how a country worth its name can depend almost 80% financing by external sources. That's a very big challenge. We think that there has to be due diligence in ensuring that we improve local financing for the sector that keeps us all together. The other one is leveraging private sector investments and also exploring other innovative financial mechanisms. The other is strengthening nutrition data and accountability, building capacity and skills. We're already doing that. Promoting nutrition-sensitive agriculture, support to small, medium, and micro-sized enterprises, advocating for the nutrition policy and legislation. We're also doing that as part of the Right to Grow project, pursuing the enactment of a law on food security and nutrition. In conclusion, we think that financing for nutrition is still an uphill task, despite an increase in global and national political will. as is evidenced in the different global, regional, and national resolutions and commitments. There is need for increased support to small, medium, and micro enterprises in food and nutrition to enable nutritious food, reach final consuming populations in affordable, accessible, and hygienically safe formats. Innovative nutrition financing in Uganda requires a multifaceted approach that leverages government, private sector, civil society, and development partner resources. Lastly, there is a need for more coordinated efforts by the government of Uganda, development partners, the private sector, and civil society organizations to create an enabling framework where innovative financing for nutrition, value addition, and marketing of nutritious foods takes place in an inclusive and beneficial manner for all actors in the agricultural value chain. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Jeff. There is no problem you leaving CS-BAG and coming to Food Rights Alliance. Actually, you'll be well aligned to come and do financing for food and nutrition with less stretches. Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming towards the end of this session of presentation. And much as I'm not a government spokesperson, I just to wish right away to respond to Jeff's question of how come, something like that, we're looking at financing our food and nutrition externally. I repeat the disclaimer, I'm not the government spokesperson, but I can see government is doing all its best. Go and study the IFLIS, those are the efforts. IFLIS is one of the efforts to deal with that. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to bring this now down, wrapping it up, listening from the bottom. Charles was saying, was trying to look at financing from the national to the local, and even went an extra mile to reference the Bible, saying there are so many harvests, but the harvesters are very few. And ladies and gentlemen, I wish to invite you to listen to one of those very few harvesters that is working at the regional referral hospital, and is also going to help us look at the government to government financing and the provisions for accountability. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you for the very last time to put your hands together for Mansour to come and take us to, yes, and this time around, Mansour from the regional referral hospital. Please, Mansour, come and take the floor.
Yeah, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let the protocol remain observed. I bring you greetings from our hospital director, Dr. Yai Alfred, and I'm presenting on his behalf. We are looking at the government-to-government approach of financing, and next, please. My name has already been introduced, so I don't need to recap. I'm told our Honorable Prime Minister is on her way. We are going to look at the background to G2G mechanism of financing for nutrition. We are also going to look at why G2G, the scope of financing for nutrition through government-to-government mechanism, the methodology, the financial support for nutrition, the perspective of Jinja Regional Referral Hospital. We are also going to look at key findings and results, the best practices, actionable recommendations, and conclusion. It's important for us to know that there's a limited linkage between the Ministry of Health, central government, central or headquarters with the districts. And this compromises the effectiveness of the ministry in meeting the districts. And it also affects the quality of service delivery because there are many other priorities for Ministry of Health. It is also important for us to know that to maximize these efforts, the ministry is proposing the regional Pharaoh hospitals to serve as regional tiers for improving health and nutrition service delivery in the districts. And therefore, we need approaches that can improve the performance of the regional Pharaoh hospitals to offer the health and nutrition services in the country. It is important for us to know that when we talk about G2G mechanism, we are here talking about financing from the USA government to the government of Uganda. And with the focus of the regional Pharaoh hospitals. And the goal is to transform the regional Pharaoh hospitals into a center of excellence to provide oversight and technical assistance to the districts. And each regional Pharaoh hospital has a catchment area. For example, for Jinja Regional Pharaoh Hospital is serving 11 districts and 1 city. And that is specifically Busoga region. But of course, we don't have borders for health service delivery. We also receive people outside Busoga region. Our objective is to strengthen the capacity of the regional Pharaoh hospitals to implement comprehensive HIV and TB services, the reproductive, maternal, neonatal, and adolescent child health services and nutrition services, while strengthening the government system to ensure proper accountability. And this G2G mechanism started in 2 hospitals, that is Jinja Regional Pharaoh Hospital and the Mbarara Regional Pharaoh Hospital. And because we did well, you'll find that there are now 7 regional Pharaoh hospitals implementing this mechanism. And why is this important? We are looking at sustainability. Sustainability of the interventions, sustainability of the approach. By building the capacity of the regional Pharaoh hospitals and the districts under which they operate. And we want to strengthen the country ownership so that whatever we have done through the support is able to be sustained. So it's important to know that the government of Uganda, with support from USA government, we are implementing a number of activities for nutrition. When you look at the scope for financing for nutrition, I have said that we are 7 regional Pharaoh hospitals that are already receiving this support. That is Jinja Regional Pharaoh Hospital, Mbarara Regional Pharaoh Hospital, Moroto, Lira, Mbale, Kabale, and Gulu. And the priority for nutrition is to improve integration of nutrition services into general care, with the focus on identification and management of malnourished persons. It is also important for us to know that the focus is to improve service delivery at the regional Pharaoh hospitals and lower health facilities. We have the term hub and spoke, which means that we have the hub, which is the regional Pharaoh hospital, but there are spokes, the lower health facilities. You cannot only improve service delivery at the regional Pharaoh hospital and you think you can achieve better health services for the people. So with this support, we improve the service delivery at the regional Pharaoh hospital, and the regional Pharaoh hospital supports the lower health facilities in the respective districts to improve on service delivery. And here we focus on nutrition. There are other programs that I may not mention here, but in the objectives and the scope I already mentioned. And it is important for us to know that for the last 2 years, for nutrition, we have been able to receive $75,000, and this focused on financing human resource, improving the nutrition outcomes at the regional Pharaoh hospital. I must say this is the first of its kind. that a project was able to support human resource at Regional Referral Hospital. And I think we need to appreciate this kind of a gesture that having a nutritionist is very important at a regional referral hospital and other lower health facilities. And this has been mentioned by Charles, that human resource for nutrition is a problem. And I need to say that this justifies why we had to allocate some money for human resource for nutrition at the regional referral hospital. Of course, we want to say the methodology, there are many other things that are done, but what is important for you to know is that the funding is directly to the regional referral hospital, not through an implementing partner. And we follow all the government systems of financial accountability from Ministry of Finance and to the regional referral hospital. It is also important for you to know that every financial year, we sit down as the team at the regional referral hospital, identify priorities that are demanding. There is also the concept of milestones or targets that are set for each program area. For nutrition, we also have targets. We have milestones to achieve in order for us to continue to receive the funding. So what are these key milestones? One thing is that we need to conduct regional performance review on quarterly basis. And this has to be in a way that is documented and meets the requirements that are meant to be achieved. The other thing we do is quarterly support supervision. I think we have repeated one there. Quarterly support supervision, we go to the lower health facilities, the health center force, and the general hospitals, so that we see what kind of service they are providing and any support they need from us. We now have a new milestone. That is looking at 85% of the children under 5 assessed for their nutrition status at outpatient department. Because the basis of providing nutrition care is on the issue of what is the nutrition status of that person at that time. You cannot begin offering services when you have not done the assessment for the nutrition status of an individual. Much as we are saying under 5, that is the focus, but we extend our services beyond that. It is also important for us to know these are the specific supports that we now have in the regional referral hospital. One, we have recruited 4 staff for nutrition. We have 1 nutritionist and other nutrition cadres. Now, these are people helping us to improve the service delivery at the regional referral hospital. And I said this is the first of its kind that we have achieved this. The other issue is about monthly work improvement teams. We have formed a committee that meets every month to look at the performance of the nutrition indicators or services within the hospital and the regional and its catchment area. And this has made us to have better results. And I think I have another presentation. I will show you how far we have moved. The other issue is about internal support supervision. By the time you go to support the lower health facilities, we need to understand our own strength as a regional referral hospital. And this has been supported, and it's one of the things we do every quarter. We review our own performance, and we see whether we are doing, if we are to stand here, can the lower health facilities appreciate that we are doing a good role? Because you can go to the lower facilities and see your indicators are even poorer than that, what they have. And it becomes a very assuming thing for you to be going to mentor when actually you need to be mentored. So we first mentor ourselves before we go to the what? To the lower health facilities. We have support for food demonstrations. We procure food, and we said there are issues here. Somebody quoted that a doctor, I think from one of the countries, that I don't know what to tell mothers to go and feed their children. because they don't have food. But that is not the issue. For us, the issue is we need to provide information to the mothers on what they have. Because they have, but the issue is, are they feeding the appropriate foods for the children? There was one time we had a malnourished child, and when the mother saw the child was getting better, and brought for us some avocados. And we asked her, I think we think that your child needs these avocados more than us. She said, actually, I brought you what is excess. My problem is not food. My problem was the knowledge which you have sorted out. So sometimes it's just the basic knowledge that mothers need. So we do this every clinic day. We have a clinic for outpatient care. When the mothers are not going home, we teach them on what to do with what they have. We don't have to bring things that mothers do not have. And we have a demonstration garden at the hospital. We teach them and say, these are the things you need to have from your gardens. And this is supported through this project. There was a moment, I think Jennifer presented here, there was a moment when we didn't have therapeutic foods, especially for inpatient therapeutic care. And it was not easy until we had to be rescued through this project that we procured therapeutic foods. So these are some of the things that really we appreciate through this arrangement, where there's flexibility of what we can do. The other lasting innovation we have put through this funding is the follow-up of patients through phone calls and home visits. We at times do not understand what mothers are going through. We receive them at the health facility, but we don't know exactly what happens when they reach home. So we are focused on mothers who are not able to come back on a clinic day. We are looking at mothers who are children who are failing to respond. We look at what could be the problem. So we have this that we are able to see. We're able to go to them and get the support of the other family members. I'm talking about mothers because these are the majority of people whom we see at the regional for hospital and other health facilities. In terms of key results, we have seen improved coordination for nutrition activities in the region. We have been appreciated by the lower health facilities that we are the lead in terms of coordinating activities in the region. We have improved human resource for nutrition. I had mentioned that this project has supported to recruit the nutritionists. We also have improved nutrition service delivery. For example, in terms of assessment, we have reached over 85% of all the under 5s being assessed for their nutrition status. Our keyword rates have improved from 22.3 to now about 80 and above. These are all achievements that we can attribute to this. Of course, there are other efforts which are there. I want to say one of the best practices is that the flexibility in allowing the regional hospitals to identify their own priorities. We are not dictated on what to do. We choose priorities that matter to us. So this is some of the things that this project has allowed us to do. The issue of our nutrition work improvement team, allowing the people to come together from different departments, has made us to achieve a lot. Through this arrangement, we are able to work together with the Ministry of Health, the regional for hospital, the local government, and the other partners in this mechanism. Now, the financing based on milestone achievement is a motivation for all of us, because we are tracked and we know that we need to give results. So if you don't give results, you know that you're going to lose financing. So this is one of the things which I think need to be promoted. However, everything is not all that. There are sometimes challenges that we face. One of the recent changes that we have was the abrupt changes in the implementation approach. I mentioned the issues of support supervision, performance review. Of recent, this financing has been changed to an IP. You know, when you don't have the money, you lose power. By the one of the things that make you powerful is when you have control over money. Yes, it is. I was asking, you are telling us that we are duplicating the activities. But if somebody is coming to duplicate, do you stop the one who is coming to duplicate or the one who was implementing? So that question has not been responded to. The other issue is that, of course, this is what we call the hub and spoke. The other issue is that the districts are not able to cascade the mentorship to the lower health facilities. And when we are rated in general, they don't look at whether it is the region for a hospital, but the lower health facilities contribute to the overall performance of the region. So this is a challenge that this support supervision is not extended. Sometimes there's delay of the release of funding. We believe that if we increase funding, we may reach more health facilities, and we need to do capacity building. And we want other IPs to come and support the regional for hospital and the lower local governments to improve nutrition service delivery. One key thing that I have noted is in Busoga region, we have, I think, a few partners that are implementing. We have Uganda Health Activity. It has about four districts where it is implementing directly. What about the 8? Who is supporting them? So there's a very big problem there. We need more partners to support. There's an issue of we need to be learning from each other so that we know what is happening in other regions and even within the region. Lastly, in conclusion, that the recruitment of human resource specific for nutrition improves nutrition service delivery. There is that quote saying that a nurse can be doing the nutritional work, the doctor can do the nutritional work. That is not true. We have roles and responsibilities to do. And I remember when I wanted to have these 4 people recruited, I waited for over 4 hours to meet a person the first day. The other day I said I'm not going anywhere until my approval is done. So there is still a need for advocacy. Even if financing is allocated for nutrition, there's a way people want to push it to another direction. You may say they are going to make M&E be part of, is going to do monitoring and evaluation, and the money for nutrition is there. Lastly, it is possible for the region of our hospitals to become centers of excellence if they are supported. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much, Mansour. I will open the floor a few minutes from now, and I'll be interested in hearing from other local governments what they have to say about this project. I know Cow of Moroto, particularly Mr. Kutos, if he's still in the room, and others. I will give you an opportunity to share with us in a minute or so. Mansour, if you're saying you need advocacy, you have to remember that Charles said 54% of us suffered stunting, at least not in that room. So really advocacy is needed beyond that. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to wrap up this presentation by listening to the person who is holding the bag. And this is none other than the Ministry of Finance. People have thrown here different models, different mechanisms. Others are saying the money is not there. Others are saying it is there. Others are saying it is the interventions. Others are saying other priorities. Let us listen to Ambrose from the Ministry of Finance. And this time around, I'm a woman of my word. After Ambrose, I'm going to take 5 hands from the floor. They interact with my speakers, and then I'll tell you the best motives you should prepare to usher in the Prime Minister when she comes here. Ambrose, can you please come and take the floor? Hey, you people, you're looking like that. This is the person from Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development of this country. So, Ambrose, you're welcome. Okay, thank you so much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All protocol observed. I'm called Ambrose Lotiang. I work as Assistant Commissioner, Finance and Planning, specifically in the Department of Budget, Policy and Evaluation, Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. I'm here to represent the Commissioner Budget to present a matrix on the implementation status of the Uganda National of UNAP 2 resource mobilization and the tracking interventions. Just simply put how far we've gone. It's not going. Do you have my presentation, please? It's not moving. Nutrition, it is just there, you'll see it. Yes. Okay. Okay, I have a hard copy meanwhile as the team sorts out the technicalities. I have 8 issues to raise up to demonstrate the progress of implementation. Action number 1 was inclusion of nutrition concerns and call to action by the permanent secretary, who is also the secretary to Treasury, to the different stakeholders in the budget call circular. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a document called the budget call circular, which is released twice in the year as we implement or as we run through the budget process. The first budget call circular usually communicates the government budget strategy, demonstrating how government intends to guide ministries, departments, and agencies on the key strategies of government to be, or those to which resources will be focused as we plan for the forthcoming financial year. So there was a recommendation that the nutrition concerns should be included in these documents to guide the various ministries, agencies, and departments of government in planning and budgeting for nutrition. First of all, when we were in Jinja for the meeting that was there, we realized this had not been included in the first budget call circular that was sent out on 15th of September 2023. However, this was done in the second budget call circular that was issued by the Permanent Secretary and Secretary to Treasury on 15th of February 2024. So this action was done. That's the status. I hope if the accounting officers here, they should be able to testify and also account to the committee that we have these concerns and we have taken into action to plan and budget for them, because nutrition is an all-encompassing issue for us. Issue number 2 was to include nutrition interventions in the third National Development Plan, Program Implementation Action Plans, what we call in acronym PIAPs, for implementation by the different programs. Colleagues, as you're aware, the third National Development Plan is coming to an end. However, what we are recommending is the National Planning Authority takes this up, given that we are preparing for the fourth National Development Plan. So we couldn't take this up because the PIAPs are already in the final stages of implementation of the current development plan. So rather we look into the fourth. Issue number 3, developing the national planning guidelines for nutrition. Once again, what we are recommending is that National Planning Authority, along with all the stakeholders, Office of the Prime Minister, Ministry of Health, and all the key stakeholders, take up onto this. Why? Because we have a lot of technical guidance with regard to nutrition that the Ministry of Finance may not spearhead, but rather would help in planning and budgeting for. So once again, we recommend National Planning Authority leads on this alongside the Office of the Prime Minister, Ministry of Health, and other key development partners. Okay. Issue number 4, you can see it there. It's on issuance of compliance certificate on mainstreaming nutrition in the budget. Maybe just to give a background, ladies and gentlemen, we have a number of certificates that are normally issued as the budget is finalized and laid in Parliament for approval and appropriation. For example, certificate of compliance of the budget that National Planning Authority issues. We have a certificate of compliance of gender that Equal Opportunities Commission issues, recommends the Minister of Finance to issue. We have a certificate of compliance of the budget for environment mainstreaming that the Minister of Water issues. So now we have this proposal that a budget be also qualified with the issuance of a certificate of compliance on nutrition in the budget. Why? Because already we've said that the PSST should communicate in both the first and second budget call circulars nutrition concerns. So to ensure these have been adopted, planned for, implemented, accounted for, a certificate ought to be issued. So what we are saying is that since then, no certificate has ever been issued on mainstreaming nutrition concerns. However, 2 things. One, we propose that the main body here be the Office of the Prime Minister. And to have this done, it's a legal process, so it will require an amendment in the Public Finance Management Act of 2015. Just if not, then probably the Attorney General can guide on this. In the same way that the Ministry of Water qualifies the budget, both at the national budget framework paper level and also at the end. So we propose an amendment, but the lead body here should be the Office of the Prime Minister, and we shall have this certificate in the budget. Number 5 is undertaking annual nutrition budget and expenditure analysis, both at ministry, department, and agency level, as well as the district local governments, to analyze allocations versus absorptions. You know, as a matter of accountability, we plan, we budget, and allocate, we plan, allocate, and eventually budget. To have this done, or to qualify this analysis, there should be an accountability that what was planned, budgeted for, has been implemented. So now, as an action, again, we are looking at the Office of the Prime Minister to integrate this action with the National Annual Performance Report. Why? Because it is an all-stakeholder issue. So the analysis can be done by Ministry of Finance, but for the actual implementation and monitoring and evaluation should be the Office of the Prime Minister to ensure this is integrated with the NAPA, and we have a full report on this. Issue number 6 that was given was that we should code nutrition in the chart of accounts. What we have looked at is this could be done, but again, we have seen nutrition as an issue of mainstreaming, that it is cross-cutting, and it goes through all ministries, departments, and agencies. So one code may not be possible. It cuts across all a number of activities. However, if you can see in activity number, in action number 5, that's why we are saying it encompasses all. So the Office of the Prime Minister has to look deeper into this. But the Ministry of Finance at the backside will ensure the monitoring of the budget is implemented. Issue number 6 was to undertake a 5-year nutrition investment case to inform planning. Again, in relation to the third issue that I previously mentioned, it comes timely that we are beginning in financial year 24-25, that is the last year of the implementation of the third National Development Plan. So given that we are going to the 4th National Development Plan, we are saying this should be taken up straight away by the National Planning Authority and have this included in the next 5-year development plan. 6 is on costing, ladies and gentlemen. We are saying this should be a multi-sectoral task coordinated by the Office of the Prime Minister. And last but not least is on testing of the models for the nutrition within the program-based budgeting system. We are saying that the functionality, this functionality is not provided for in the PBS, and the PBS is designed for planning, budgeting, and accountability. However, this being an operational tool, we can discuss further with the Office of the Prime Minister and Minister of Health to have this incorporated. I thank you for listening. Maybe as a matter of protocol, I don't know if there are questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ambrose. You can all detect what could have happened. Our chief guests have arrived, and we are soon getting into the opening session. I don't know, Ndere, if Ndere is ready. We have gotten that shock. They could have run down again. Okay, let us receive this interlude as we organize ourselves to receive the Right Honorable Prime Minister, our chief guest, for this third National Nutrition Forum 2004. We shall come back after her opening, and then we wrap up the financing. Ndere, please.
Tell her. Good morning once again, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, the Ndere troop, and thank you, thank you. Our chief guest is already here. Once she comes in, I will request that for courtesy's sake, we stand up when I announce her presence and we welcome her here. And then I will call for the anthems once she has walked in and taken to her seat area. I'll call for the anthems, which shall be led by the Ndere troop. And we will have only one stanza each of the national and the regional anthem or the East African anthem. After the anthem, we will have a prayer led by Father Dennis Ochanda, and then after that, we will have a short performance by the cultural troupe, and then after that performance, I will request my sister Agnes Chirabo to bring to speak the Right Honorable Prime Minister and all of us for 2 minutes to just wrap up what we have been doing in order to bring all of us into, especially the Right Honorable Prime Minister, to speed with what we have been discussing. Then I will move into the other program schedules as have been lined up, as you know. So for now, the Ndere troop kindly give us that interlude, and as we wait for the Right Honorable Prime Minister to walk in. The Right Honorable Prime Minister is in the house. Let's welcome the Right Honorable Prime Minister. Anthems. Prayers, may I invite Father Dennis Ochanda to come and pray for us. Let's remain standing. Let us pray. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. We thank you, God, our Father, for the gift of life, and for all those to whom we have entrusted the governance of our beloved country and motherland, Uganda. We thank you for bringing safely here the Right Honorable Prime Minister. Bless her with good health, peace of mind, generosity of heart, and continued presence on the national and global scene. May all that she and all of us do avail food that will translate into good health, not only for ourselves, but also and most especially for our dear young ones who are the crown of today, the cream of tomorrow, and the future of our country. We ask all this through Christ our Lord.
Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Father Dennis. Let's all sit. May I invite the director to give us a 3-minute performance to allow the Prime Minister and the guests to settle. Just 5 minutes, 3 minutes performance, director.